There are a significant number of areas that do need to be clarified in from the final regulation. In particular, as was alluded to, I think, in this morning's session, there is some concern with how the definition of designated investment alternative is applied in the context of a model portfolio application, and in particular, how that plays out into the participant level fee disclosure, where there really is more detail needed on each designated investment alternative, and the calculation of some of the benchmarks and earnings history is more difficult when you're dealing with a model portfolio fund to fund. So that's one important area that certainly needs some clarity. Another is with respect to how the application of the non-monetary compensation definition, and with indirect compensation, how far do we really need to go in reporting that indirect compensation? So we are certainly looking forward to seeing what comes out in the form of the frequently asked questions that they alluded to today.
And he said timelines are looking like a couple of weeks?
Well, he indicated in the typical government speak that it would be soon. And sometimes when government regulators speak in time, they think of it in the geological sense, which takes a long time. But I think in this case, he alluded to it being several weeks and maybe even sooner than that, which leads me to believe it could be, frankly, any day, to be honest, is what it sounds like.
In taking a pulse of the feeling of your members, is there a level of preparation or is there a level of anxiety? Where are people at?
I think it's both, frankly. I think people have been preparing for this disclosure regimen for some time. We all knew it was coming. The concern is obviously making the final details and work being done on systems and otherwise. Folks are disinclined to reinvent the wheel twice, and so folks have been doing as much prep as they have, but I think many folks rightly were waiting to see what the final rule was before they did their finishing touches. So I think folks are working very hard to finish it all up, and so there is some anxiety, but that doesn't mean they haven't been hard at work before this time. It's just the nature of the beast. You don't want to reprogram everything a second time, and I think that's some of the concerns we have on a going forward basis with regard to the summary issue. As the final regulation indicated, they broke off the issue as to whether it will be necessary to provide a summary document with your 408B2 disclosure. The proposed regulation is supposed to be out in May, but as was alluded to in today's session, it looks like I take that back, we were talking about fiduciary, but a proposed regulation will be out, I think maybe June is what I saw on the regulatory agenda. And again, the problems, we will look at that closely to ensure it's not too problematic from a reprogramming and technology standpoint. So there's a lot of work ongoing, and I'm sure that will continue for a number of years.